Wonder Woman, 1984, man. I know you've been looking forward to this movie
Oh
all
man,
year.
I've been waiting for it. Like I
I ain't
couldn't
gonna
wait for it to
front. I
come.
was excited about the movie. I was just like, yo, I think this movie will do pretty well. Um, Gal Gadot is really dope as an actress. I loved all her work in the Fast and Furious movies that she was in. I like what she did in the first Wonder Woman movie. So I was looking forward to what she was gonna bring to the table. And might I add that I was completely satisfied with most of what she brought to the table. Um,
Same here. Well, what she had to work with, I'll just say that
yeah. So the plot of this movie, man,
is everywhere.
it takes place in 1984. There's a wishing stone. Spoilers if you haven't seen the movie. There's a wishing stone that grants wishes, and that has an adverse effect on everything,
Including the plot.
including the plot. So, man, can we talk about things that you liked about the movie?
Um.
Because I
Well,
know the list of things you don't like is a mile long.
Gal Gadot. Is it Gal Gadot? Or Gal
I
Gadot?
think it's
Gal Gadot. She does a very great job as Diana Prince. Seeing her, modern day kind of self, I think she kind of embodied what I think, this take on Diana Prince would look like. And like, when she was, coming out as I forgot her official title. It was some kind of historian, Smithsonian kind of title she had. I forgot what it was. But, I felt like that was the perfect role for her since, she's living through history and everything like that. And she embodied that well. Her turn as Wonder Woman, I think every time she's on screen, she really does her best to captivate your attention as this presence of a strong heroine. And I think that she knocks that out of the park. Given my issues with the plot, I think she handles the title character well. And I think that's why, so many people were ecstatic about this movie just because of her take as the character.
Yeah, so the main thing I just want to point out is that the poster should definitely put Gal Gadot's name extremely high and extremely front and center because to me she is the movie. I like what she brings to the table. I like the way she acts. The face expressions that she makes are right on point. Like she seems curious at the right time. She should be curious and all the things along those lines. I also like what Kristen Wiig brought to the table as far as a supporting actress. She killed all of her parts. I thought she was funny, quirky. Like she did a good job of acting all the ways her character needed to act from the beginning of the movie. But aside from that them two were the best part of this movie. And as far as the other things I did like, there was some of the action sequences that I thought looked cool. The mall thing had some good moments.
Yeah.
The White House fight scene had some cool moments involved in it. There was a couple parts where Gal Gadot had to show emotion, and I thought she nailed showing the proper amount of emotion at the time it needed to be, especially at the time when she kind of turned her back on Chris Pine. Like just the way she looked right before she did it, and just like you just don't even exist, and just kind of hauled at. I just love the way so as far as her,
Yeah.
just want to be very clear.
Yeah.
No issues with how Gal Gadot and Kristen Wiig acted throughout the movie.
I agree with you. I feel
Pedro
like
Pascal did a good job of being an annoying prick.
did he though?
He was annoying. All of the pointing and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like he nailed it. But I also feel like he suffered from what was given to him. He did, and we see what he does on The Mandalorian. So he's a credible, great actor.
I really feel like Kristen Wiig wanted to do more because I felt that it felt like she really tapped into her character, and she wasn't really given much to work with.
It felt like she was it was gonna end up being a lot, but I just feel like when it got to where it
I think
needed to
Pedro
get, it
got
took
in the
too
way.
long.
This character,
Yes.
Maxwell Lord, I think there's a few films that can handle multiple villains, and we know a
The
lot.
MCU does a pretty good job of usually juggling two villains at a time.
Yeah.
Look at Black Panther. They handled Killmonger and Ulysses Claw.
Mm-hmm.
Most Marvel movies have two villains. I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of like a thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I figured the DCU would figure out a way to manage both of them.
So this plot, though.
Okay, so things that you don't like.
Yes.
First of all, I didn't like the addition of Chris Pine.
Why?
I didn't feel he needed to come back.
Mm.
I love him as an actor. He's great.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie is about Gal Gadot, right? It's about Wonder Woman. We did not need him to come back, and I feel like the decision to bring him back messed up the whole script, because you have this whole idea of wishes, and it gets really funky because Wonder Woman was doing so good, and I really liked the relationship. It looked like Diana and Barbara were starting to develop, but then he comes back
And it literally
and she just drops everything. and it's just right
And
there.
I guess that was the point. But in a writing standpoint, that messes up everything. What you're trying to build from the story. Like, I get it. The love of her life is back. But in essence, you messed up what you were trying to build with the story. And you tried to interweave that with the story you created. It was just really muddled for me. And as soon as I saw, I remember we saw the trailers and, he was going to be here and everything like that. But just the way they introduced him.
Funny thing is, I didn't see a trailer.
I saw the first one and that was it.
Okay.
And they spoiled it right there. So when you see the other guy's face or whatever, and I'm just like, oh no, they're about to pull this crap where he's not him, he's in somebody else, I immediately got turned off. I was just like, no, this is not it. And let alone we went that direction. And I guess, like you were saying, they were trying to use him for some comedic effect and everything like that. Chris Bryan really had nothing to do in this whole movie, but literally just sit there and be a shoo-in in the scene.
Yeah, technically, from after they went to her house or his house, whichever one they ended up with, and pretty much got it in. From that point on, all he did was follow Diana everywhere. Like, he did get involved in a couple of the fight scenes that's where we kind of started realizing that her power was gone, but it felt like he was getting in the way,
Yes.
as opposed to actually helping out. It's almost like Ross on Black Panther. It's like his portions aren't necessarily needed, even though they didn't use him as much.
Yeah, but he made a difference
But
in some aspects.
I mean, technically, Chris Pine made a difference too. He helped her from getting crushed in between two vehicles. But aside from that, that's where it was just like, that's where I felt like the downfall came, because Barbara I felt like her and Diana's relationship was the key to the movie, and it just stopped developing kind of right there. Like,
Yep.
we stopped seeing that, like, because they went out to lunch. She kind of saved her from getting beat up by the thief. They had the whole thing where they kind of talked about all of the artifacts. Like, I was just like, man, I really like this dynamic of them two together.
I think that's the problem too. Like, I feel like her being jealous really didn't justify what was built during their relationship. Because, you get that whole role that, oh, I want to be Diana because she's everything. But we didn't get to see that fully develop, I don't think, because of Steve Trevor's character. It started, like you said, they were going out to eat, they were doing all this stuff, and then it was just like, I hate you. That's what annoyed me. It didn't give them two characters enough time to develop that relationship so you would believe why she would be jealous and despise Diana that much.
Yeah, and I don't know much about Maxwell Lord in the comic books, but the whole him being the embodiment of wishes and getting other people to make wishes so he can take from them what he wants, that got really boring to me, because it's just one of those situations where it's just like, so all of this is happening. This is a huge event, and nobody else hears about this and comes to help. You know what I mean? Like, and Wonder Woman was able to remain a secret all of this time.
Yes.
Through all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she spoke through everybody, spoke through Maxwell Lord into everybody's head.
They renounced the wishes. They don't remember.
Even though we don't, that's the thing. That gave you too many loose ends with this movie.
Yes.
So did everybody get rid of their wishes? What about Barbara? She didn't look like she was going to. All of a sudden, she looked like a human, and we didn't get any
I read
clarification.
something that said they left that open because they didn't know what they wanted to
Patty
do.
said.
And I'm just like, come on.
I was just like, no, because if she didn't renounce the wish, why did she not look like a cheetah anymore? Or did it only renounce the first wish?
Yeah.
And the second wish and not the first wish? Like, it's too many
It's too
question marks.
It's too much.
And then Patty Jenkins now is like, oh, I'm not sure if we're doing a third movie. It's just like, I get it. You're doing the whole I'm holding out so I can get more money thing. But I don't know if you should come back.
I don't know either.
Because at the end of the day, the first movie was good, but certain parts were longer than they needed to be. I feel like you tried to explain way more through talking than you do with actions. By having a crap load of dialogue.
But I felt like the first part had a good balance of those scenes, though.
I don't think
so. And I think
the first movie was too long.
No, this movie was too long.
I mean, this was 10 minutes longer.
But this one felt like
the
a
first
lot
one
of
feels
unnecessary.
That way to me too.
No, the first one I feel
to you.
The first one.
Make sure you add that.
But the first one had a balance.
To you.
This one does not have no balance.
The first one had a lot of BS in there that didn't need to be there.
You think so?
Yes.
Compared to I'm comparing it to this movie.
There's things where it's a thing in screenwriting where they say don't tell, show.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And Patty Jenkins has a lot of telling. Like, she does a lot of telling and not so much showing. And I'm thinking that's why in the first, like, I still say the first movie is good. Will I watch it again? No. I'm not spending that much time watching the first movie again. Will I watch Aquaman again? No. The movie has to be spectacular for me to watch it again. I'm not watching any of those movies again, even though they were good. I'm definitely.
But compare that one to this one. That's in the essence I'm talking about right now. The first movie had some sort of a beginning, middle, and end. This film had none of that. The beginning, middle, and end was not related at all. When you look at this movie as a whole, it is not cohesive to one bit at all. That's what I'm comparing from the first movie. The first movie, you had the introduction, the whole Amazon island and everything, got the ground bases set about the gods and everything like that. She went on to find out the war. She explored how the war is affecting humanity and everything, and she found the god, destroyed them. End story. This was literally open up another childhood memory, learn that you can't win everything, then you wish your man back, then you tell other people. What? I can't even get through this movie. So that's what I'm trying to make you understand. The first one at least had a series of events that were actually cohesive. This movie was everywhere. Like the whole hour and a half and 45 minutes was just nothing. You literally watch this movie back, which I'm not going to do. It's a mess.
All of this that he just said and complained about, and the things that I complained about, could have all been avoided if we didn't go the wish route just so we can bring Chris Pine back. He didn't need to come back. It's okay that a main character dies in something and doesn't come back. You know what I mean? It's okay. It makes it meaningful. Like, what if you want to say, oh, he needed to come back so she can have an emotional reason to learn how to fly? Or so she can have a reason to make her ship invisible so she can do the things that she's famously known for, flying an invisible ship and flying. I'm not buying that. There was other routes to get there.
Yes.
And I don't feel like Chris Pine was needed. Did I laugh at some of his parts? Yes. But I do not think he needed to come back.
He did not at all.
So at the end of the day, what's your final thoughts?
I feel like Wonder Woman 84 was a missed opportunity.
That they're going to Thor Dark World.
Yes, and the reason I say that is
Dark
because
World?
Yes, and the reason I say that is because Wonder Woman has kind of been the DCEU's kind of like poster woman, kind of image. Like we got that movie that's going to carry this franchise, and I think they really missed the mark with this one. For people to believe that, I mean, I've seen thousands of comments. We're not the only ones who are disappointed about the movies. I've seen fans saying that this wasn't it. This wasn't it. I don't know how they're going to repair their image after this. And I don't even know if they would care because of the stature of Patty Jenkins, of how everybody is just propelling her to this pedestal. Because I thought she did a terrible job writing this movie. And she should have been nowhere near the writer's room. She should have just stayed behind the director's chair. Harsh, as you may say it is, it's the truth. She did not need to touch the script. She did not need to be involved with it because it was just a mess. And unless they do another time travel storyline where they wipe this from existence and it never happened, a sequel for this, I'm not going to be interested in, even if it might be good.
Well, I'll say this. I can't necessarily blame Patty Jenkins
I
for all of the stuff that went wrong with this movie. The reason that it makes it so that you do that is because when the movie started, I feel like I saw her name like 10 times.
Everywhere.
So it was just like, because even my wife was like, who the heck is Patty Jenkins? And why do I see her name everywhere before the movies even started?
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of just made it seem like if this movie is successful, it's on Patty Jenkins. If it fails, it's on Patty Jenkins. Look, I get it. We need women in positions where they're making decisions with the opportunity of these big budget movies in their hands, for sure.
Yeah.
But I feel like Patty Jenkins dropped the ball with this one. Nobody wants to say it like that.
Nobody
but that's
does.
what it is.
That's what it is.
We need women to be put behind the director's roles. We need Asian people behind the director's role, black people behind the director's role. And when something doesn't work and does work, they deserve the proper amount of credit. And I feel like Patty Jenkins deserves the credit for dropping the ball with this one. Gal Gadot killed it.
Well,
Kristen Wiig killed it.
Yes.
Pedro Pascal was annoying as hell, but based on what I've seen off The Mandalorian, he can do a good job.
Yes.
We've seen 16 episodes. You know what I'm saying? Do I feel like this was worse than The Dark World? I will say yes, and the only reason I'll say that is because at least The Dark World is over with faster. The suffering lasts a shorter amount of time. It's cool to see Gal Gadot kill it because, like I said, she's been killing it ever since the first time I noticed her, and that was on Fast and the Furious, where I was just like, oh, snap, man, she's actually a really good actress. Even though I was really happy when Michelle Rodriguez came back, I was just like, hey, you got to go. You got to move over. Vin Diesel's girlfriend is back for real, for real. But she's a beast. Patty Jenkins dropped the ball on this one, so now she's going to be doing Cleopatra with Gal Gadot, and she's also going to be doing a Star Wars series, which is already being destroyed by, and when I say destroyed, I'm not saying by my words, I'm talking about the general consensus of the Star Wars hive. Because what's her name? Kathleen something? The lady Kathleen Kennedy. She's over the Star Wars franchise, and most people blame her for the destruction of Star Wars. Now, I don't blame her for that.
I don't blame her.
I do blame whoever the hell made sure that it was okay to hire 3 different directors for a 3-block series of movies. Now, if she did make that decision.
2 different directors, actually.
I know, but I'm just saying 3 just because we all know J.J. Abrams should have did all 3 of them if he was going to do it.
Yeah.
But if she did that, if she was part of that decision, then she definitely deserves the blame. But I don't think she has anything to do with The Mandalorian. That's Jon Favreau. So he's getting the credit for that, as well as Dan Filoni. So Dave Filoni. The directors deserve the credit when something's successful and when something's not successful. When Black Panther was still successful, who deserved the credit for that? Ryan Coogler, right? If it failed, who deserved the credit for that? Ryan Coogler, right? Patty Jenkins deserves the credit for this movie being pooped on.
And I'll just
grade
end with
1
that
to 10.
Statement. What we gotta do the number? Can I just say X?
No.
No,
you got to put a number on this.
I'll give it a 3.
Damn. I'll give it a 5. But it's one of those 5s where
You're saying that 50% of the movie was great, theoretically.
Look, I have a high bar for watching a movie again. The last movie I watched multiple times was Infinity War and Endgame, and I never watch them from the beginning. I always go to a part and watch from there. Not saying those movies are bad.
They're long.
Yesterday, I turned on Us, and I'm like, I'm not watching this whole movie again. I do want to see a couple parts, though.
Right.
It's just one of those things. I just don't watch movies over again a lot anymore. The only movies that are the exception are like The Last Dragon and Coming to America, maybe Bad Boys 2. You know, it's very few, far in between. I will watch like The Pursuit of Happiness, movies like that, feel good movies that make you look at your life.
When
like
you watch this movie again.
No.
So you give it a 5.
I wouldn't even watch the first one over again. So, and that one was good. So I'm going to give it a 4.5. Okay, I'll take a half a point away. A 4.5. Got to do better, Patty. And I'm pretty sure if you mess up the Star Wars movie, you'll be hearing from people, not me. 'Cause I can care less.
It's gonna be worse.